Hi, this is Pat Sargent of Sargent-Thamm Printmaking. I belong to the Torpedo Factory Studio 325 Printmakers Inc. Anyway, today we're at the Manassas Battlefield and we're going to pick up some black walnuts to make some ink out of as part of Art Safari 2020. Anyway, let's take a walk and see what we can find. So black walnuts are indigenous to most of North America. This is an example of one. But I would suggest getting some gloves or something if you're going to pick up some of the black walnuts that are on the ground, because they can decay pretty quickly and turn black like this. And but that's going to be perfect for ink making later on at home. Anyway, so here we are in the beautiful Manassas Battlefield. There's my wife and our dog. Hi, honey. And just enjoying the day. Here's the black walnut tree. You can see there's some nuts still up there. Anyway. Enjoy, and then we'll get back and carve these up and put them in a jar with some water. So, while you're out, try to enjoy a little bit of nature. Here's some beautiful flowers growing on the side of the road near Manassas Battlefield. Okay, so now I'm back from the battlefield. Dog's taking a nap, and I've gathered up my materials to finish making my black walnut ink. You can see here that I have a number of items that we're going to need to get started. A little bit of water right here. That's going to go into this jar after we cut up some of these black walnuts right here into smaller pieces. And then that'll sit in that jar for about, I don't know, maybe a week in the sunlight. And then when we get done, we're going to need some cloves. We're going to need some gum arabic. You can also use some xanthan gum. As long as it's not in powder form, you liquefy it first. And then finally, a small bottle to put our finished ink in. I'm going to wear some black gloves while I'm, or some latex gloves while I'm cutting the black walnuts up, because they will start to oxidize very quickly and make your fingers turn this like nice color of brown for a few days. And I would ask your parents to maybe help you with the cutting part. I use a small paring knife to cut my black walnuts up, so we'll see how it goes. All right. So I'm going to be cutting my black walnuts up on top of this cardboard box because I don't want to stain anything in my house. I'm also sitting in my driveway. Nice, it's beautiful outside. It's a nice autumn day here in Northern Virginia. And it's exactly the right time to get these black walnuts when they're the ripest. All right, so I'm just going to start carving. I'm going to set these other ones off on the ground for now. And then cut these up. So all you want to do is cut away the husk. You can see some of these are already starting to darken on the inside here. This could be great for making our ink. Oh yeah, this one's already ripe. Look how ripe that black walnut is. And you don't need the seed. You can chuck those. If you're really enterprising, you can clean it off all the way and roast them and smack them between a couple of iron skillets and eat them. I hear they're pretty good. I've not done that myself, so I'm not necessarily saying I recommend it, just that it's possible. All right, good. Now we're gonna take these and we're gonna combine them all together into this paint strainer that I have. Now this could be an old t-shirt, okay? And we're just gonna, actually, we'll put this into our container first. So this is our container we're using. And I'm gonna put my paint strainer in here as much as possible, leaving some of it out. And then I'm gonna put my material in here. Okay, I'm gonna put as much of this in there as I can get into this jar. This is just an old mayonnaise jar. It's plastic. It'll be fine sitting out in the sun for a week on my front porch or on the back porch. Now it looks like I might be able to fit some more black walnuts in here. I have a couple more here I can cut, so let's do that real quick. Okay, now we have our material in here with the paint strainer. I'm gonna make sure it's solidly in there, make sure I got some strainer left over, and now I'm gonna take my glove off and get my water and pour it into my jar. So you only need enough water to cover the hulls that we've put in here. And this should make probably about 5 or 6 ounces of ink. And there we go. There's our jar full of hulls. And we're saving ourselves some time on the back end by having that mesh in there. Kind of like a giant coffee filter. Anyway, in a couple of minutes, we'll take a few days and we'll come back and look at it and see what kind of ink we got. All right, so here we are in my basement now, and we're getting ready to bottle some of our black walnut ink. So you can see I've poured some of it into this cup. And it's a nice golden brown color, actually not golden, dark brown color. And I'm going to pour it into a little bottle that I've already made a label for using some of the ink. And then we'll add a clove to it at the end. So let me gently pour this in here without getting it all over myself. And it looks like a really dark espresso to me. Very rich in color. And you can see some of the grounds are left over in the bottom because maybe I didn't filter it properly at the end. I'm not really concerned that much about the unfiltered part of it. So now I'm going to add a clove just to make sure that it stays without molding and keeps it fresh for a longer period of time. These are found probably in your mom's pantry, mom and dad's pantry. And then a couple of drops of gum arabic to make it a permanent ink. This isn't really necessary if you don't want to. You can also use xanthan gum as long as it's not in powdered form. So let me put a couple drops in there. Okay. And I usually put like maybe 6 drops to this entire bottle of ink. All right. Excellent. And what that does is it'll keep it from spreading on your paper if you get water on in the future. All right, so I'm going to cap this, give it a little shake, make sure all the ingredients are nice and mixed up. And then I like to test my inks on a piece of paper. So, there we go. Now I'm going to let that sit there and dry for a minute while we're talking about these other inks. So this is one way that you can make a pretty simple ink from ingredients around your house or maybe around your neighborhood. Coffee, really heavy coffee espresso, diluted down and maybe boiled on the stove for a few minutes would make a nice dark brown color. Turmeric in your spice cabinet would make a nice beautiful orange. It also smells nice when you're making it. But you can also take some nails and throw them into a jar with 2 cups of water and a cup of cleaning vinegar. Here's my cleaning vinegar right here. And that'll help oxidize the material that you put in there into this beautiful rust that you can brush on to various surfaces. Another really easy ink to make is this copper oxide ink. You take a couple pieces of copper. I found some end bits for copper tubing. Put them in some vinegar in this jar and let them sit out for a couple of weeks, stirring them occasionally, and you'll get this nice beautiful blue. Anyway, that kind of concludes our ink making from Black Walnuts. You can see here's the ink that we made today, brushed onto a card. I think it looks beautiful. And we've added our clove, and we've added our gum arabic to keep it permanent. I've also got some ink that I made from beets around my house, and that's about it. So if you have any questions, here's the ingredients list that we use.